So this is a video of me showing you how I cook my very easy sugar-free sweet rhubarb stewed. Stewed rhubarb is easy no matter what. The ingredients for a sugar-free version are very simple. These are all visible in the frame right now. Bunch of rhubarb, a little bit of ginger, stevia, and secret ingredient. This is an Inulin fiber. It's called Fiberlicious, this particular brand. Just because Inulin fiber is quite sweet as well, and it's a softer sweetness than stevia, but still fiber. And the stevia I'm using is better stevia, alcohol-free. So these are all the ingredients. And you just want to clean up your rhubarb. Get a bunch, maybe 2 bundles worth. How many sticks do I have here? Maybe one. About 10 sticks here of rhubarb. That seems to fill up my smaller pot fairly well. And when you get the ginger, make sure it's the more watery, gentler Chinese ginger. So the first thing you'll need to do is dice your ginger, and I like to use the back of my knife to peel it first, get rid of the skin. You could also use a spoon if you're too afraid to use a knife. But one way or another, you're going to want to get some nice skin-free ginger and dice it very finely. Another option may be to shred it with a microplane, but I like to get these little small pops of ginger here and there in my rhubarb stew. And if you like a more uniform flavor, you can by all means do a shredded version. Now when I dice my ginger, I always cut across the fibers first. My very first slices are all across the fibers, as thin as I can do. And I'm using not a ton of ginger, but a fair amount. That'll do just fine. Before you get on my case for not curling my fingers in like a professional chef, know that everyone says to do that, and I'm a rebel. I just can't control my food with my fingers curled that way. I need my fingernails. I need my fingernails so much I'll never ever get a manicure either. That's just me. I like these nails the way they are. So there you go. There's the ginger all finely diced up. It's a decent handful. I'm just going to toss that into the pot. I have a little bit of rhubarb already in there. Alright, now we just cut up the rhubarb. 1-inch pieces is pretty good. I've seen people cut it this big and it still works out just fine. So you could cut it this big. I like smaller fibers, so I cut it down a bit more. If you've made rhubarb before, then you know the drill. I'll get the rest of these in the pot and then come back. So the cool thing about stewing rhubarb is it's actually a very watery plant. You don't need any water in your recipe. I put a small amount of water in the bottom of the pot just to get things started. But once it starts cooking, you'll find that the water comes off of it very quickly, and you can actually stew it in its own juices. So I've got this on a medium-high heat. Medium is good enough. I think medium-high is where most stoves would be at when mine is at a medium. And I'm just stirring it around here a bit while it gets itself started. I'm not giving you very many measurements here because honestly this recipe is really difficult to mess up. But you know, use ginger, as much ginger as you like, or don't use any at all. Or use as much stevia as you like. If you know your stevia well, then you should be doing fine. But I am probably going to use about 1/4 teaspoon maybe in this pot. I got enough rhubarb to fill this pot. And as you can see, I'm just pouring in the stevia as I see fit. One other ingredient I forgot to mention. Now this is going to be a little tough to come by, but you want these little flavor bottles, and I get the strawberry kind. It adds a certain scent. It's very concentrated. You do not need a lot. I'm using the last few drops out of this bottle. And it really takes it up a notch with the flavor of your stewed rhubarb. Okay, it's been stewing for a little while. We've got the stevia in there. I thought I'd mention, because this is rhubarb, those of you who have an issue with stevia tasting bitter are probably not going to notice the bitterness, because rhubarb is already a very tart food by itself, and you'll probably find that the bitterness of the stevia will blend in with the tartness of the rhubarb, and it'll be like it disguises it completely. It won't be the same kind of offense as you might feel having stevia in, say, a caramel or something like that, or chocolate. Now, chocolate would be okay, but yeah, a caramel would definitely, you'd notice it. So, okay, I'm just going to add the Inulin now. This is the only one I actually measure. And in this size of a pot, I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of Inulin powder. Put this within the camera. There we go. Scooping that out like this, pouring it over the whole thing, and getting another scoop. This is a very high fiber dish. Very keto friendly. This is the sort of thing you could handle on a keto diet, no problem. It really does. Okay, I'm back. So when your rhubarb is ready, it should look like this. There should be maybe a few little lumps here and there, but for the most part, they all just kind of melt away. It takes about 30 minutes, I'd say, to get it nicely stewed. You can stew it longer or less time if you like. I'm going to let this sit at a warm temperature for a bit longer and let all the rest of the little lumps disappear, but it's already perfect just as it is for most people. Yeah, like I said, this is keto-friendly, might be a bit paleo as well. Because of the low sugar, this is also very good for diabetics. You can have something delicious that won't spike your blood sugar and give you lots of fiber for roughage. Highly recommend this. It's delicious, tart, sweet, beautiful thing. You can have it just as is. You can put it in a pie, but if you put it in a pie, it won't be as keto unless you have a special keto pie crust you can use. I like it just like this. You can use it as a flavoring for your meats, like the same way you might use cranberry sauce. There's a lot of great ways to use a stewed rhubarb, and it'll keep in your fridge for a week or two.